We're here with Scott Kriens, co-founder of the 1440 Foundation and the visionary behind 1440 Multiversity, a state-of-the-art mindfulness conference center in progress in California. Welcome, Scott. Tell us a little bit about what you're up to with 1440 Foundation and the Multiversity.
Hi, Jim. Good to see you. Couple of things on our plate, I guess, as 2015 comes to a close. One is with the foundation activities more generally, as has been the case for a number of years, really doing what we call serving champions. And that's primarily grants and financial support, but it's also, if it's of use and of interest to our champions, any brainstorming, any connections in the field that we can make, any links to other champions that see work and opportunities to collaborate. And it's really been focused over the last couple of years in the area of mindfulness and contemplative practices in the education field. And it's not specific to K through 8. It's been more centered there primarily because that's where a lot of the champions have been working. But it's also happening in high schools, in colleges, in teacher colleges, in teachers, and having them develop better classroom management techniques and more presence that they can bring to their students in their classrooms. So that's one side of our work. And of course, the other side that we're really excited about is Multiversity. And it's a campus that we are redeveloping in the Scotts Valley Mountains, just near Santa Cruz here in the Bay Area in California. And it's really exciting, partly because of the place, the site. It's in a beautiful redwood forest. And there's a whole lot that we're excited about, at least. I think we have to offer with regard to the facility and what it's going to hold as a container. And then even more exciting is the support from the faculty and the people who have committed to come and teach and to come and be part of the programs there and to offer their curriculum, their content, their workshops and experience in individual personal development, in the corporate and professional world in development, and then in the area of wellness, around personal well-being and wellness, and also clinically and medically, trying to help people with challenges of emotional instabilities, anxiety, stress, depression, and increasingly effective ways to treat that without chemicals and pharmaceuticals. So just a huge amount of outpouring of support from the teachers who are really going to be the center of the facility. So both on the education and grant making side, and then on the campus and what we call Multiversity, a bunch of work that we're excited about.
Scott, that's really terrific to hear. 1440 Foundation has had such a beneficial impact on the field as a whole. And for those of us who've been to mindfulness conference in hotels, we're very excited about a dedicated site that supports the learning in a conference with the environment. And we're really excited. So looking towards 2016, kind of what's in the forefront for you in the next year? And along with that, are there emerging questions or trends that you'd like our audience to hear about?
The biggest, I'll call it need or opportunity that we see in the field in 2016 and beyond, and what we're really focused on with the development of the campus and the facility, is this need to translate the invitation to these mindfulness or contemplative practices, or this, what some people call the development of the whole self, not just the physical and intellectual development that we get in traditional education, but emotional, social, relational, spiritual development that makes up the rest of a whole person. And there's been a lot of press, a lot of magazine covers, a lot of articles, a lot of media coverage around this field, or some people think of it as a phenomenon. Hopefully it can be thought of as more than a current trend in what I guess we'll label mindfulness for the moment. But the challenge that we see is that invitation has to be translated from an abstract aspiration to a concrete invitation to what we think of as experiential learning, real, on the ground, personally experienced growth and development that allows the possibility of a more mindful, a more compassionate, a more empathic world that obviously no one would disagree with, to be translated into an experiential learning invitation that people can realize and can practice, and it's teachable. And they can realize that it's teachable, and it goes from something we'd all like to see but don't know how to do to something that anybody can do. So that's our big focus with Multiversity, but also our grant making, also the champions we work with, and I think the biggest need for the field. We've got a huge amount of attention and opportunity for all of us, but we've got to translate that into hard, concrete learning skills and invitations that people can act and can incorporate into their lives. And that's really, at this point at 1440, we're increasingly focused on that 2016 and I'm sure many, many years beyond.
Well, that's a great segue into my last question. What would you suggest that Mindful can do to help with that important trend that you're describing in 2016?
Well, the first thing I would, if it's a ask, I guess it's more just a sort of cheering from the crowd of admirers, which is to keep doing the great work. What Mindful's done to make this real, to put real information, real workshops, real exposure to the champions and the content. You know, I personally believe there'll be more champions, there'll be more content developed, and I'm sure it'll be great. But it's also true that there's a huge amount of content and curriculum and practice out there in the world today that just needs to be made more visible. I'm not sure how much more development work we need. We need delivery, and we need people to engage. And so what Mindful's doing to make this real, to put the message into black and white, put it on paper, put it out into the world, put it on the network, and have people realize that there is an actionable path for them and a growing community that they can engage with for encouragement and support and contribution. It seems probably simple to say more of the same, but it's such great work and it's so desperately needed that anything that can continue that is going to be cheered wildly here at 1440. So great work and hopefully more to come. I know there will be.
Thank you, Scott.